Hello, everybody. It's Sylvie. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Long time no speak. Speaking of speaking, I sound like this. I sound like I'm in my Christian Bale Batman era. I've had some kind of sore throat cold thing. I am absolutely fine. I just sound like I'm not. But do excuse me if I'm extra croaky and raspy. It is what it is, and what can you do? But anyway, I'm back. It's been, well, I actually uploaded a video this week, but it's been weeks and weeks since I filmed anything. Life sort of just got in the way. It's been like wedding season. I've been away visiting people. I've had people visiting me. It's all been going on. Things have been happening. I've been busy. It's like all good stuff for the most part. It's just been a little bit overwhelming. Something had to give, and it was this channel and videos for a bit. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited to film again. And what I'm going to film today is just a kind of a very late Gemini season wrap up and kind of just like a general update. So I'm going to chat through some books I've been reading, some tarot decks I've been using, and also some new tarot decks that have come into my collection. I know that the video I just posted was a kind of haul video and there were some tarot decks in that, but I did film that weeks ago and I have got new decks since then. So that's what's happening. Also, hey, do we like the nails? They're my like rainbow Pride nails because it is July, Pride month is over, but I'm going to Pride this weekend and I'm gay all year round, so I thought I'd do something rainbow and sparkly. Anyway, shall we get into it? I've forgotten how to talk to a camera, so lots of umming and ahhing, I'm afraid, and a fair bit of rambling, but I'm gonna move some things and tell you what I've been up to. In the spirit of my usual wrap-up videos, I just want to mention a couple of books that I've read since I last spoke to you. So I recently, and by recently I mean before my YouTube hiatus, so 5-6 weeks ago, I recently watched a bunch of Kellyanne Maddox's back catalogue of videos, which is always well worth doing. I think she's been uploading videos for like 7 years, 10 years. She's got a huge back catalogue. She's always been fascinating and interesting, so it's always fun to like have a dip through the stuff that she's talked about because she's made videos on so many different topics. But anyway, her most recent video on chaos magic was I think like a Q&A, and a couple of the points that she made really resonated with me, so I kind of looked back at her previous videos on chaos magic, and I also finally, on her recommendation, listened to the audiobook for Condensed Chaos by Hine. Now, I don't practice any kind of craft really. I don't call myself a witch. I don't say that I have like any kind of magical or witchy practice. But I was just really interested in some of the ideas and the kind of ethos of chaos magic, and just wanted to like see what it was all about, have a bit of a closer look at it. And so I'm really glad that I read this. I went for the audiobook because I knew it would be easier for me to digest and get through. And I found the audiobook very listenable and digestible. I may well get myself a physical copy of this to reread bits and like annotate and explore a bit further because I found it really interesting. I loved some of the ideas, but mostly just the way that it was discussed. The thing that stuck out to me in the Kellyanne Maddox video I watched is that chaos magic is like a permission slip to just try something out and see if it works. And that idea is what really appealed to me. So there was that. That's like the non-fiction that I've read recently that I want to mention. And on the fiction front, it's been Locked Tomb reread time. So we have here Gideon the Ninth and Harry the Ninth. I'm sorry, I can't zoom out any further. I did not think this through. But these are Oh, these are my favorite. Oh, do I want to say they're my favorite books? I think I want to say they're my favorite books. This is definitely my current favorite ongoing series. This is the 4th time I've read Gideon and the 3rd time I've read Harrow. I'm about to start Nona, but I'm taking a bit of a break to do a Raven Boys series reread. I'm in that kind of nostalgic rereading mood lately because I've been busy. There's been a lot going on, so I've been looking to books that I know and love very well. So I am eternally obsessed with this series. I cannot wait for the final book. If you are not familiar with these books, I truly don't know the best way to describe them. They've been described as lesbian necromancers in space, and like that's not incorrect, but I think it doesn't capture the vibes of the book. That makes it sound like a kind of fun space opera. Like that's not what this series is. This series is just a complete mindfuck of a fantasy series, to be honest. But I love these books so much. They are exactly my sense of humor. They're weird and wonderful and chaotic. They're a blend of like sci-fi and fantasy elements. There's necromancy, there's angst, there's lesbians, there's memes. I just love everything about these books. I can't wait to dig into Nona again because it will only be the 2nd time that I've read it. So it was really interesting to reread, especially Harrow's book, with the context that I now have from reading Nona the 9th. I can't wait for the 4th book, which I don't think we're going to get until next year, but I'm happy to kind of reread and particularly re-listen because the audiobooks are fantastic. They're narrated by Muir, and she does such a fantastic job with all the different characters and like bringing them to life. It's a fantastic listening experience. These are fantastic books. I love them very much. These 2 are actually annotated because I have read them physically before and like marked them all up. But that's not what I did this time around. Just they're fantastic. So as for my tarot practice recently, like I said, it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. Life has been busy, priorities have been shifting a bit. So my daily draw, which I have been doing since December, but I've been doing pretty religiously all this year, my daily draw kind of just didn't really happen for most of June, but I've picked it back up for July. And this is one of the decks I'm going to talk about shortly, but this is my July daily draw deck. This is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot by Maggie Stiefvater, who wrote the Raven Boys series, which I am rereading. I'll talk more about that in my summer tarot decks video, but that's been fun. I feel like I got ahead of myself a little bit. But anyway, there have been some decks that I've been playing with pretty consistently, even though I wasn't really reading too much in like June, or the time that I was gone. And I'm just going to talk about those. So I've talked about this deck before. This is the Tarot of the Crystal World. And I've been reading this a fair bit, and I've been reading it alongside the Crow Tarot, which is like an interesting combination. They kind of go together and they kind of don't go together. Like visually, like they kind of work and they kind of like don't. I've just been really enjoying reading them together. I've just been really enjoying the kind of energies that they've got together. I've no idea what inspired me to start reading them together. I think it's just that they're both pretty new to me and I wanted to play with them. I feel like they've got pretty different energies about them each. Like neither of them are too traditionally Rider-Waite-Smith though. Like they're obviously Rider-Waite-Smith inspired, but neither of them stick too closely to that imagery. Like the Tarot of the Crystal World takes quite a lot of leaps with it, and obviously the Crow Tarot is full of crows. And like they just have really interesting conversations with each other, even though I don't really know how to articulate it, but they have like very different energies, but I just like how they talk to each other. So yes, the way I've been reading with these is typically like doing a reading with either one or the other and then pulling the same number of cards from the other deck to just kind of clarify or like direct the energy of the like primary deck that I'm pulling from. And I've been liking how that's been working. Isn't that such a beautiful, beautiful 5 of Pentacles? I feel like this like bluey greeny colour palette is not something I usually see on the Five of Pentacles, and I really like it. I've been really liking these two together for reasons that are not entirely clear to me, but I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the readings. It's all good stuff. Okay, what else? So the Aphrodite Tarot is also a pretty new to me deck. I backed this on Kickstarter and it came in, oh, I don't know, maybe about a month ago. And I've been, first of all, the aesthetics of this, it's the pink. Pink is my favorite color. And I have kind of a thing for like Venus and Aphrodite. And so aesthetically, and like I love like historical art decks as well. So aesthetically, this was always going to be a winner for me. But I have loved reading with this deck. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this deck really wants to do relationship readings. This deck really wants to do romance readings. And serendipitously, perhaps, my life has been going in a direction where those are actually quite relevant to me, which is a bit of a change. So it's quite nice that this kind of turned up when it did. Ooh, this card with the purple on my nails, that's a good colour palette. Anyway, I'm so easily distracted. But I've been really enjoying this. Like I say, this deck just really wants to talk about relationships, and it's a really beautiful deck. The guidebook that it comes with is just the credits for the artwork used. So it is one that you can either go off your intuition, you can go off what you see in the images that have been chosen. And I will say, I think the images have all been chosen really, really well. I'm really impressed with how this deck was put together. I think any deck from an existing body of artwork is tricky to pull off, but I just think that they've been done so well. I think pretty much everything works. There's nothing that I have any like real problem with. I say pulling the Ten of Swords, and I'm not sure how I feel about this Ten of Swords in particular as representative of the Ten of Swords, but overall, beautiful. Overall, I think this is such a well curated deck. I think it works really well. It reads really well. It's beautiful. I've been enjoying it very much. Love this justice. Holding the mirror up, like holding the mirror up to the truth. Oh, it's so good. I could just flip through this whole deck, and like the warmth in this Four of Wands is stunning. And like this Two of Swords, like with her, like traditionally she's blind, isn't she? Or she's blindfolded. But here with like her fingers in her ears, I feel like it definitely conveys the same message of like being pulled between two like choices. Many lions in the Strength card. I also personally really appreciate how this Surely thing she's got kind of almost looks like wings, which is not traditional in the imagery, but it's still quite like powerful, and I really enjoy it. But I won't flip through the whole deck. And that pink gilding, and it shuffles really nice too. It's a really smooth matte finish. I was interrupted with an offer of tea, which is never a bad interruption to have. So what else? As ever, my Trippin Waite tarot. You're going to get sick of seeing this on this channel. How did I close this? This is eternally... Oh God, I'm making such a mess. This is Forever and Always a deck that I am pulling out and using, and recently, as is often the case, I've been using this for readings for other people. So one of my friends who was visiting, I've read tarot for her before and she really enjoys it. And I took it out to the pub with us, and we ended up giving readings to... We're sticky. Oh dear. This is why you don't take your cards to the pub, kids. I have a feeling... I put this down in some spilled beer, maybe. But anyway, we kind of took this out with us, and we're giving readings to random strangers, which I was not sober at this point, so I very much doubt the quality of my readings, but I think everyone had a fun time. And as ever, this deck, this is the Trippin Waite by Tarot Collectibles, and their decks. This is definitely sticky. I'm going to put Justice aside because she's sticky. As is, oh dear, don't take your nice decks out with you. But yeah, this is such a fun one because of like the bright colors and the like 60s vibe. It makes even the like scary cards look less scary. Oh no. I'm gonna have to give this deck some kind of clean. Oh dear. But anyway, this deck I'm always using. It's always fun, and it's become my kind of go-to for reading for other people with. And because it's the Rider-Waite Smith imagery, it's really familiar, it's really easy for me to read. So always enjoy this. Feel bad for getting her sticky though, that's a problem. Okay, what else have I been playing with? Right, speaking of Rider-Waite Smith, when I wanted a straightforward reading, I've been reaching for this a lot. So this is the Lifelines Tarot, the Colour Outside the Lines edition. I hope that vehicle outside is not too noisy. See, look at that Two of Cups sitting on top. I hope the vehicles outside are not too noisy. But yeah, when I wanted like a straightforward Rider-Waite Smith, something very kind of no fuss, straightforward, clear cut, I've been reaching for this one. It's a beautiful deck. I really like the way that the colours are used. It's a beautiful shuffle. It feels really nice. It smells really good. I think I've got an unboxing of this one somewhere on my channel. But I've just been pulling this out a lot. It's been good for like, I've used this for a couple of week ahead readings in a different way than when I last spoke about doing a week ahead reading. I woke up one morning at like 4 a.m, could not get back to sleep. And so at about 6, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull some cards. I'm going to do like 7 cards, one for each day of the week as a week ahead, and just see what happens, see what comes of it. Just as a bit of an experiment, really. And I liked this deck for that because it's kind of no fuss in a lot of ways. It's very, as you can tell from the imagery with this like single line artwork, it's very stripped back imagery, and I think for that reason it really works in like bigger spreads. Although a week ahead reading, it was not something I was reading like 7 cards as a whole. 7 cards is still, it's a fair amount in a spread. Most of my daily readings are like 3 cards, maybe 4. So a 7 card spread is not a small spread. And so it's really nice artwork for bigger spreads, is what I'm trying to say. I've got an extra card here. This is the Muse card. But yeah, I've been pulling this out a lot. And this is one of those decks where I was like, I didn't really need to buy it. Like, obviously we never need to buy a deck, but this was one where it wasn't exactly like filling a gap in my collection. It was more sort of adding to my collection. But I'm just very glad that I have it. I really enjoy working with it. I really like the guidebook for this deck as well. So yeah, that is the Colour Outside the Lines. Ooh, Colour Outside the Lines tarot. I think I'm seriously losing the light, and for that I can only apologise. But briefly, I'm also just going to show off some of the new decks in my collection, because don't we all love to talk about new decks in our collection? So since we last spoke, the Crow Tarot is new to my collection. I've already shown you through this one, but this is the only currently published MJ Cullinane deck that I want to add to my collection. She's also done I think it's called the Wise Dog Tarot, and for whatever reason I'm just really not that interested in that one. But this is now my 4th MJ deck. I have the Guardian of the Night, I have the Grimalkins, I have the Urban Crow Oracle, and I have the Crow Tarot. Do you know what I've also got? I've got the Raven's Dream on pre-order, and I have the mass market edition of the Foraxa on pre-order as well, because I've become an MJ Cullinane stan. I don't know how this happened, but I'm not sorry about it. I really enjoy this deck. I see why everyone says it's so special. No regrets. I have acquired tea. Hopefully my voice will sound a bit less rough. But realistically, that's too hot to drink, so no promises. What else is new? Briefly mentioned The Raven's Prophecy by Maggie Stiefvater. This is new. And like I said, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in my summer decks video, which I have planned. I just haven't filmed yet. I love the Raven Boy series by Maggie Stiefvater. I've wanted this deck since I first read the series, and I finally kind of, you know, pressed checkout and actually got myself a copy of this deck because I am rereading the book series, and I always sort of thought to myself that whenever I next reread the book series, I will get this deck and work with it at the same time. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know how linked to the series the imagery is. Like some of the themes are very obviously the same, but I don't know how much it's referencing like specific moments from the books or anything like that. But I'm very much looking forward to sort of digging into it and finding out and revisiting this world that I love through another format at the same time as reading the books. I've started the Raven Boys. It's called the Raven Cycle. I've been calling it the Raven Boys series. The series is called the Raven Cycle. The first book is called the Raven Boys. That's not really a big deal, but anyway, I am listening to the audiobook actually for the Raven Boys. I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I've been pulling this every day so far in July, and I'm just really enjoying reading what she's got to say in the guidebook about the tarot and kind of immersing myself in the world a little bit. So there is that one. I also really like the art style of this. I like decks that don't have people looking at me, and this deck very much doesn't have faces, so it's ideal on that front, and I just think it's very beautiful. Like, this is such a sweet Six of Cups, and like the crossed fingers for the Seven of Swords, I think that's very clever. Anyway, I'm gonna edge this in orange as well, I think, to match the fronts. I feel like people talk a lot of shit about these orange borders, but I love them. Okay, what else? I've got a couple of new to me Fournier decks. So I wanted both of these for a while, and then they both just went down to a really affordable price on Amazon. So I bought both of them. So this is the Tarot del Fuego. I've got to say, I love the size of a Fournier deck. They're a Spanish company, and this one in particular has really lovely cardstock, and I have absolutely no complaints. And I think both of these decks cost me like £10 something and £11 something. Like, they just went down to a really good price. Anyway, I love this deck. I love the kind of chaos of it. I love all the eyes that we've got. Can we focus, please? All of these sort of like eyes throughout. There's a lot of fire. It's a very like fiery deck. Like, again, we've got all of these sort of overlapping eyes, this fire. Like the colours as well, there's lots of red, lots of orange. I think this is it, and it's got some really interesting takes on the cards like this, with the blood as well. Like, this is not your typical Nine of Pentacles kind of energy, but it's really interesting. I love this Emperor. I'm not going to give you a commentary on every single card. I also really like how, like, here we've got the Queen of Pentacles, but she's under the sea, and there's these like sea creatures. There's sea creatures I've noticed kind of throughout this deck, not just in the cup suit, which is where you'd usually maybe expect to see them. But yeah, this one, well, both of these are pretty new, so I don't have too much to say. I've had a flick through. I've used this one less. I've had a flick through. I've done a couple readings with it. I've liked it, but it definitely is one that you need to sit with, because a lot of the imagery is not, or at least the way it reads, doesn't line up with what I think of when I think of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, for instance. So like, this is our Eight of Wands, and like, we've got a lot of like this like fast moving energy, but it's a lot more kind of chaotic and, quite frankly, a lot more towery than I'm used to seeing in the Eight of Wands. So but yeah, it's all good stuff. I think this Temperance is especially gorgeous, and Temperance is one of the cards that I find the trickiest of the major arcana, so that's very cool. Anyway, I'm going to put her away. So I've also got the Tarot del Dios de los Tres, which is one I went backwards and forwards on because it's quite... Am I upside down? That one's upside down. It's fairly pippish in the minors, and but it is gorgeous. Yeah, so it's fairly pippish in the minors. These backs are stunning. The pink, oh, I love it. Oh my god, Sylvia, get to your point. So it's fairly pippish in the minors, and for that reason, I kind of went backwards and forwards on whether I should actually get it. And I am just so glad that I did. Why am I doing these upside down? You can look at the art. Yeah, I'm so glad that I bought this. I've done a few readings with this since I got it, and my god, it's just, oh, it's spot on. The artwork is again a little bit like the Tarot del Fuego. Is a little bit like chaotic. There's a lot happening. Like here in this moon card, we've got so much going on. It's very busy artwork, even in the minors. So although it is pips, it's very busy pips. There's a lot of imagery, and it's very easy to pick up references between the cards as well when you're doing a spread, which makes it easy to read. So I can't remember what I had the other day, but I had the Wheel of Fortune come up, which, you know, typically often is kind of gambling, like what goes up, what must come down, like you spin the wheel and you see what happens. I talk too much and my camera battery was full. So I pulled this, and we've got the dice up here, and then another card in the spread also had some dice, and that just made the presence of those two cards in the spread didn't at first make sense. I can't remember what the other one was, but then I saw the dice on both cards, and suddenly I was like, oh, of course, like that's what it's referencing. Like that's why this second card was here. It's talking to how to kind of cope with the ups and downs of the Wheel of Fortune. And it was just a really good reading. And oh, it was this one. It was the Four of Wands. We're all over the shop. So I pulled, I can't remember what positions they were in off the top of my head, but I pulled both of these, and at first I was like not sure what the Wheel of Fortune was telling me, and then I was like, oh, it's talking about this, like you take the gamble, but also maybe in this case the gamble pays off and you get your Four of Wands moment. But yeah, it's gorgeous. Like aesthetically, it's just stunning. I love the colors. I love the artwork. I love how many like hearts and like butterflies and eyes are throughout the deck. I just think it's stunning. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading with it, and I can't wait to, like, hearts, skulls, butterflies. These are three of my favorite things. I just can't wait to dig into it some more. And like this Judgment with the rainbow, and I think this is just such a rich deck, and I'm extremely glad that I decided to buy it. Do you know what? I've been thinking I want to do a video on the decks that I almost talked myself out of buying, but then did buy and have turned into just some of my absolute favourite decks that I would not want to be without, because I think it's really interesting when things like that happen. So yes, I think it's such a fun deck. And again, it's that dinky little Fournier Tarot size. It's really easy to shuffle. The riffle shuffle on this isn't quite as nice as the Tarot del Fuego, but it still does very nicely. I'm going to edge this one in a hot pink to really match the backs. Gorgeous. Very happy with it. And then the final new deck in my collection is one that actually came in this morning. So this is yet another Tarot Collectibles deck to add to my collection. Why are we stuck? What's happening here? Okay, for some reason that was really stuck in this box. So this is the Dead Waite by Tarot Collectibles, who did the Trippin Waite as well. They're one of my favourite indie deck like designers, companies. They're also UK based, which is nice. They're based in Ireland, so the decks get to me really quickly, which is a nice change. And this was another one that they had a sample copy of up on their eBay, so I got this for, I think it was £20 plus shipping, which in my opinion is a bit of a steal. And this is kind of, I just thought it was so much fun. So it's this like zombie apocalypse theme, but also like you can see that they're designed as though they've been like torn and burned and like taped back together. So it's this kind of like relic of an apocalypse tarot deck, as well as the imagery being this really fun kind of zombies vibe. And I really like what they've done with some of the cards actually. let's see if I can find one. But like, so like here you can see like there's these extra figures in the background. There's these like bloody handprints on the ruins of this cathedral. And like here the cups are all tumbling down. So you definitely could, in like some of these cards, you could read this as almost like a reversal of the tarot, which is probably not what I'm going to do, but I think it's cool to kind of have that. And like here, like the church window is shattered, so that puts a much darker spin on the Five of Pentacles, which is already a pretty grim card a lot of the time. But what is it that I'm thinking of? I think it was so here, like the Nine of Swords, we have here a woman who is not zombified, but like her windows are boarded up and you can like just about see this like horde of zombies outside. And I think that's just such a fun take on the Nine of Swords. But yeah. So much like the Winter Waite Redux that I recently got from them, which I'm kind of saving until Christmas, I probably am going to not really pull this one out much until I love this with the Raven. There's also lots of like, do you know what? I've got like the Crow Tarot, I've got the Raven's Prophecy, I've pre-ordered the Raven's Dream, and then this deck's got quite a few like crows and ravens and things in, which is just, it's a nice little coincidence, isn't it? I interrupted myself again, didn't I? I'm sorry. I'm probably going to put this one away and not really get it out much until like closer to like Halloween season, just because it fits the vibes so well. But I'm very pleased that I've got this. I'm very pleased to have added this to my collection. And look at that fool. It's such a fun deck. I like the backs of this one as well. It's got that like torn up, bloody kind of look. This one also, so one thing I will say about Tarot Collectibles is that every single deck I've had from them, and mind you, this is a sample deck, and a few of the ones that I've got are like sample decks. So I don't know if the card stock is the same if you're buying like full price from their site. But all that to say, every single deck I have from Tarot Collectibles is on a different cardstock and is a different level of shuffleability, which for some of them makes sense because they're coated with like the holographic finish. And like I say, some of them are sample decks, so that might be why. But it's not really good or bad, it's just inconsistent. But this one is a really nice shuffle. I find this one really easy to shuffle. That's why it's all out of order, because I got this morning in the post. I sat down, I looked through all the cards, and I just kind of sat and shuffled it for ages and like pulled cards out to see what they all looked like, because I think it's super cool. Look at that ultra moody Ten of Swords. Wonderful. Anyway, I think I finally am done talking. I think that's everything I want. No, I tell a lie. I should have mentioned this earlier when I was talking about my tarot practice recently. Maybe with some editing magic, I'll put this in earlier in the video, and maybe I won't, because I'm going away this weekend, so it really depends how much time I have to edit. But anyway, this is Tarot Spreads, Layouts and Techniques to Empower Your Readings by Barbara Moore, which I bought a couple of months ago. I spoke about this in my last upload, which was my secondhand decks and books haul, and I've been dipping in and out of this a lot. And specifically in the collection of spreads, I've not really got into the kind of do-it-yourself spread stuff yet, but I've been kind of working through some of the spreads that she's got in here, because it's a very nice compact little book. I think the spreads are really good, and they're able to be specific and versatile, if that makes any sense. So I've just been really enjoying kind of going to this when I want to ask the tarot about something that I don't already have like a spread locked and loaded in my head for, if that makes any sense. I've been really enjoying this. I just wanted to kind of like give it a bit of a mention, because I don't know, that made sense. I'm talking about my practice. Why wouldn't I also talk about the books I've been using? But that is everything that I wanted to say in this video, I think. So I will leave it there, because I have been talking for about 40 minutes, which is slightly ridiculous even for me, and my voice did not start this video well, and it's not going to end it well either. So So that is everything from me for this video. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update, sort of chat through my practice, which has not been as much, for lack of a better word. There's not been too much going on, but I still have been playing with cards, and as you can see, I've been buying new cards as well, and I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of an update before I start making videos again, which I do anticipate doing. I don't anticipate disappearing again, but you know, sometimes life gets in the way, and that's just how it goes. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of my decks and my books and all that good stuff. Let me know if you've read the Locked Tomb series, Gideon the Ninth, Harrow the Ninth, Nona the Ninth, because I very badly need friends who've read these books and who can be kind of unhinged about them with me. So if that's you, please let me know. But yes, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching and for spending some time with me. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.